In order to know where your key is and where all your chords are, it's important that you know what is your major scale. And so this is the foundation of all of our chords. We need to know what is diatonic, what the key is that we're in. So we're going to start with C, and we start with C because it's most simple and it's all white notes, and that gives us a frame of reference to go back to once we start to get into the black notes. So we're going to start on the note C, and we're going to ascend. We're going to go up the keyboard in the order of whole steps and half steps. There's a certain pattern that you're going to learn. So you start on C, which is 1. You're going to make a whole step. Now remember, a whole step is the distance between one note and another note when there's one note in between. And it can be a black note or a white note, does not matter. So you've got your root or your bass or your home note, this is C. Then you've got a whole step, you've got another whole step. Now you have a half step, and we have a half step because there's no note in between here. These notes are right next to each other, they're one half step away. You can hear that's a really crunchy sound. Then you've got another whole step, you've got another whole step, you've got another whole step, and finally you have another half step. So the pattern is 1, whole step, half step, whole step, whole step, whole step, half step. This is very easy to remember when you remember that the pattern of black notes is 2 black notes with a space in between or with a gap in between, 3 black notes with a gap in between. Whole step, gap, half step, whole step, gap, half step. And so that helps you understand where it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, back to 1. So this works very easily then if we go into another note. I'm going to start with an easy one. We'll actually start with G. So we have, from G, we have whole step, half step, whole step, whole step, whole step, half step. So now G has one black note, and that is an F sharp. It's very important to remember that you have to use all of the letters in the musical alphabet. You can't skip any, and you can't duplicate any. So this could be an F sharp. It also could be an G flat, but in this case it has to be an F sharp, and I'll show you why. In the key of G, you can't have a G flat because there's only one G. It's taken up with the root. So it goes G, and this is through the alphabet, G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, G. So sharp things go up, poke you in the bottom of the foot. That's what I tell my students. So sharp things go into your foot or into your tire in your car or whatever it is, but they poke up, right? So that's what a sharp thing is. That's my way of remembering it. And then flat things, like flat tires, go down, right? When I get a flat tire, it goes down, the air goes down, or the tire itself goes down. And so the same thing, we can start with with an F, and we've got whole step, half step. Now, is this an A sharp or a B flat? Well, we can find that out by going F, G, A. Now we have to have some form of a B. I can't use A again because I've already used it. So it has to be a B flat. C, D, E, F. So now we know that the key of G has one sharp, which is F sharp, and the key of F has one flat, which is B flat. So now you know 3 different keys. How does this make sense with our chords now? So now if I'm going to play in the key of F, sorry, I'm trying to find my hand here with the phone in front of me. So in the key of F, now F becomes the one chord, where when I was in the key of C, C was my one chord. Now if I want to play a 1, 4, 5, for example, I've got an F chord as my 1. Now I need to go to 4. It's easy for me to find my 4 by just knowing where my 4th finger goes. 1, 2, 3, 4. And my 5th finger, that's my 5th note. And so I can find my 4th chord by going here. Now, the thing to remember with the key of F, anytime I want to play a B, it has to be a flat if I am in the key. If I go out of the key, then I might be able to play a B, but that would be non-diatonic or not in the key. So we have 1, which is F, A, C. Then our 4 chord, which is our next major chord, is going to be B flat, D, F. And I'm going to play it with these same fingers. I do that a little differently than some teachers because I think that you need to be able to play 1, 3, 5 on any chord that you play in any inversion, and we'll talk about inversions later, but that's my own preference. I find it to be the best, and fingering is really about what works best for you. So then our 5 chord, right, because my finger is on, in this case, it's F, G, A, B flat, C. So if my fingers are here, then my 5th finger hits here, and this is a C chord. So my chords in the key of F are F, B flat, C. And then if I have a 6th chord, which is really common in popular music or in CCM music or any of that, then that might be a 6. That's going to be a D minor. So just remember, every time I play a chord in the key of F, it has to have a B flat. So my diatonic chords would be F, G minor, because of B flat, and then we have an A minor, and then we have a B major, we have a C major, we have a D minor, and when we have an E, now in this case it's going to be an E diminished because it's the 7. Remember that we had a B diminished in the key of C. I just moved my hand this way so you can see it. I have an E, I have a G, and I have a B flat because every time I want to play a B in the key of F, I have to play a B flat. And then I'm back to F. Now let's do the same thing in G so that we can see what we're working with there. So G is my 1 chord. And now if I want to find my 4 and my 5, I just look for those fingers. Remember, in the key of G, our black note is an F sharp. So let's see how that affects us. So I want to go to my 4. There's no F on this chord. This is a regular C major chord. But then my 5 chord has a D, F sharp, A. So now my D becomes a major instead of a minor because 1, 4, 5 are always major, which we've talked about already. So that's my 1, 4, 5. You can play about 500,000 songs or more just using these 4 chords. If you want to go to the 6, which is really common, then that's going to be an E minor. So let's go through the diatonic chords in the key of G. We have G major, then we have the minor, which is an A minor, then we have a B minor. Now I've got B, D, and F sharp because remember, every time I want to play an F, it has to be sharp. And then I've got C major, I've got D major, which we just talked about, I've got E minor, now I've got F sharp diminished, F sharp, A, C, and now I am back to 1 for G. So those are the first 3 keys that you want to get familiar with, and we'll talk about more ways that you can do that.